The countdown is down to a few days and hours to the year 2022. The big players in the political scene strategize on what is sure to be a crucial year as a few dates with destiny loom. The political parties as platforms for the podium or ideological compasses for political navigation, or both. We have a discussion on that. Also on political updates today, acts and bills as a pointer to the resolve of the legislative arm, a closer appraisal of the Red Chamber in 2021. Some civil society organizations have had their say on the template for power sharing as the nation nears the business end of tenure cycles in the nation. The Yuletide has also brought glad tidings in many political cycles. Political joustings have given way to best wishes, and for some, a much-needed respite from repeated confrontations. This is the penultimate edition of the show for 2021. I am Fisai Ogunfuyi. Welcome. And just as we wish you the very best of the Yuletide season, the helmsmen of this administration did same during the weekend. It was an opportunity to reaffirm the resolve of the president to leave enduring legacies in critical sectors of the nation's economy. The Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, made comments on the president's focus on delivering a much better nation to the citizenry during a Christmas homage to the president.
I think that one of the most important things is peace, and as you know, Mr. President has given strong leadership on all the peace initiatives. Just a couple of days ago, we held a Security Council meeting where we reviewed a lot of the security issues around the country. So there's a lot of focus on security and on peace, and of course on the economy, which we believe is we will see a massive improvement in this coming year. So we're all excited about the prospects for our country, and we think peace and prosperity is the watchword.
The Vice President used the opportunity to pay a glowing tribute to President Muhammadu Buhari, whom he said is genuinely committed to Nigeria.
He's devoted his entire life and times to the service of this nation, and I think that is evident that he's a man who cares about this country. He's also a man who everyone knows has integrity. He has remained completely incorruptible through the years. He has remained a bastion of good governance and incorruptibility, which is very, very important in a society such as ours. And I think he set an example. It is possible to serve your nation in any capacity. He's been military governor, he's been minister of petroleum, he's been head of state several times. It's possible to serve this country and not steal the resources. So I think that he set a great example in terms of honest and forthright leadership. And of course, something many people don't know is also a sense of humor.
During the visit, the Vice President led prayers to God to grant the President good health, long life, continuous guidance and protection as he strives to sustain the upward trajectory in Nigeria's national life.
In the last edition of the program, we did a review of the activities of the Green Chamber, that is the House of Representatives, in the outgoing year. Today, we move to the Red Chamber as bills and acts targeted at key areas of national life went into the works. Ignatius Ikwo gave a rundown of the ups and downs.
Today,
9th of February 2021, Senate first plenary for the year. But it started on a sad note. The death of former member of the House of Representatives, Prestige OC, led to the suspension of legislative business on that first day. It was a busy year for the Senate, confronted with several issues of public importance. Insecurity received the first legislative jab as the legislators on the 17th of February 2021 passed a resolution urging the president to declare state of emergency in the security sector,
to ensure that we come up with a strategy of ensuring security in schools.
In this year's budget, there is a substantial allocation to address challenges of insecurity.
Senate, in the year under review, also intervened in other sectors of the Nigerian economy. There were motions to stop casualization in workplaces, warning to other countries against the maltreatment of Nigerians, motions on the review of the physical security in Nigerian correctional centers. Among the bills passed in 2021 include the 2022 Appropriations Bill, Finance Bill 2021, 2021 Supplementary Budget, NIPO's Repeal and Reenactment Bill, National Agricultural Fund Bill, and the bill that seeks to abolish the dichotomy between first degree and higher national diploma, Firearms Act Amendment Bill, the Petroleum Industry Bill, Electoral Act Amendment Bill, after some disagreement among the legislators on electronics transmission of results and mode of primaries for political parties.
We want our democracy to grow, and we don't want a situation where some few individuals will be the one responsible for calling the shot if it comes to elections.
The Petroleum Industry Act, because it is now an act, it's something that has been in the National Assembly for the past 17 years, and all the previous assemblies were not able to pass it for one reason or another. But with the kind of leadership that we have now in the Senate and the National Assembly in general, we were able to pass it.
Within the year, Senate confirmed more than 20 presidential appointments. These include past service chiefs as non-career ambassadors, Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdurrashid Bawa, confirmation of service chiefs, confirmed Controller General of Nigerian Correctional Service, confirmed the nomination of Muazu Sambo from Taraba State for appointment as Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but turned down the appointment of Loretta Onochie as INEC Commissioner.
Actually, Loretta, there was genuine clamor for the fact that not only because there was already somebody representing, her own state, but because of the fact that she was seen to be politically leaning towards a particular party.
Senate maintained its working relationship with other arms of government, especially the executive. With few days to the end of 2021, it is expected that the legislators will conclude works on the ongoing constitutional amendment in the coming year.
Earlier, Senator Mohammed Sani Musa joined us to evaluate the performance of the Senate. He also touched on activities being anticipated in the political terrain in 2022. Joining us now to review the year 2021 is Senator Mohammed Sani Musa, representing Niger East Senatorial District. At the past year, in terms of the response of the Senate, for instance, in terms of legislation to the exigencies of national life, how would you rate you and your colleagues?
Thank you very much, Mr. But I think I will rate the Nigerian Senate to have performed above average, being that we've been able to pass some legislation that have been on the table for a very long time. And apart from that, it has been a very active year for the legislators, because there is no day that will pass without us having to pass one bill or the other, or take one resolution or the other. So I believe that 2021 has been a very active year for the 9th Senate. And to cap it up, you can see how the Senate worked tirelessly to make sure that we passed the Petroleum Industry Bill to an act, which was done, after almost 20 years. It has become like
The recurring decimal,
yearly, and we have been able to achieve that. We've been able to also achieve changing the budgetary cycle, which begins from January to December, which was not done before. You can see before we pass the budget usually till around June, July, which is not good for the country. And we've been able to pass the finance bill. I'm talking about those ones that have direct impact on Nigerians. And I think if you are asking me of the scorecard, I will tell you that we have done above average.
All right, of course, some also were not, couldn't get over the line. For those ones, are you perhaps going to rejig and represent next year?
Yeah, definitely, because that's the essence of being, of legislating. When you happen to bring a bill and there are some gray areas in that bill, you have to go back, put them right, and then represent them. And once once they are done in the right way, I think Nigerians will also believe that these people have done the right thing, and then we pass the legislation, because every legislation, every bill has to go through public hearing, and that is why we have the input of Nigerians.
All right, now looking at it, of course, you are also a politician, and we are getting into some crucial timelines once we enter into the year 2022, and of course, dovetailing, of course, to 2023. Looking at the, the electoral setting in terms of, what the umpire has been able to do, the innovations we are seeing, the off-cycle election that, started with the off-cycle elections, the beavers, for instance, in terms of, the technological input. What are your comments at this time, and what will be your expectation as we move into 2022?
I think it's I can give kudos to the Independent National Electoral Commission for adopting technology, because I'm one person with a passion for technology, and I believe that with what they are doing, they are improving on what they have already started. So I believe with the coming of the beavers, it will check electoral malpractices, especially where numbers are added without actually having the votes in the ballot, so in the ballot box. So it's a good development for this country, and we have also seen how INEC have improved in making sure that political parties submit their nominations through online system, which is also an advanced level. I mean, it checks so many things, and this will also fasten their processes. So also, I think INEC is also doing what other advanced democracies are doing in terms of putting guidelines that will work, towards legislating, towards technology in the say. And I believe once the Electoral Act is also passed, signed and passed and signed, I believe INEC will have the antidotes to be able to deploy all these technological spares they are proposing for our electoral system. So I believe technology is a very good thing.
Yes, a hope and a prayer, of course, for 2022 going to 2023 is perhaps that eventually, as in the all-out war against insecurity is won, and then, of course, in some areas, even places like yours, where we've seen incidences of, kidnapping and all that, will be a thing of the past. In terms of your interventions in that fair, take us through some of them in the course of the year that has, to a reasonable extent, tried to arrest, at least legislatively and in terms of serious discourse, some of this menace we've seen in society.
I'm going to take it about in 3 different dimensions. First, what are our activities in the chambers when it comes to national security? I think we have worked, the 9th Senate or the 9th National Assembly have worked so seriously to see that the menace of insecurity in this country is checked. We have proposed so many aspects in terms of changing our architecture, security architecture for this country. The armed forces also have been rigid. You understand, the federal government is supporting them, giving them all the necessary tools and resources to be able to fight this menace. And then when you are talking about insecurity, sometimes people don't talk about the successes. The successes is not too loud, but when a little one happens, it makes a lot of noise over. In the past, when you come to Niger East Senatorial District, there is no day that will pass without one issue, one case or the other of either kidnapping, killings, and maiming by these bandits. But today, it's not the case. You can see today even the vigilant groups that we have, that is those that have volunteered to provide their security for the people, just like the hunters, the villagers. They've also taken arms, and they're really checking on these bandits, and you cannot hear that there has been this reoccurrence of attacks as it used to be, and that tells you that there is a success in checkmating them. And the armed forces also have tried so much, especially in my senatorial district, because with the deployment of the Nigerian Army troops, we've been able to checkmate this banditry. And then when you look at it at the larger scope, you can see that since the change of the armed forces, the chiefs the service chiefs, things have really changed in terms of operations. The armed forces are doing very well, and they must be, they must be commended. I believe that it's just a matter of time we shall need this in the board.
All right, now let's talk about, political rhetorics, and that's where we are going now in terms of, once we enter into 2022. What would be one of, your word to people aspiring to different positions of power? We saw this in 2019. It was not so healthy, the crossfire everywhere, and now we're moving again towards another general elections. The whole of next year will be, momentum towards that. In some states, there is also the gubernatorial, tussle in Ekiti and Osun, and some of cycle elections as well.
Thank you. As a legislator, and also one that is aspiring to lead the political party that is governing today, the APC, as national chairman, I believe that we must come with clean hands when we are playing politics in this country. And what is that clean hand? We must abide by the rules. When you are talking about the rule of law, it's not just talking about the Constitution or talking about court cases or any issue. No. When you are talking about rule of law, we're talking about those fundamental guidelines that have been laid. If every political party will adhere to its constitution, if every political party will adhere to its guidelines, I believe that the kind of confusion that we usually see will not happen. If you want to buy for an office, go and take it, do the proper thing because it has been laid in the books, how you go about it. Go through it, go through that book, follow the constitution or follow the guidelines and get it right. Once you get it right, I believe, and those that have been given the responsibility to administer this thing, if they allow these processes to go seamlessly, I think this country will be much better for it.
All right, now moving forward, you've just spoken about a date with destiny in February. Talking about that, and even other parties have been trying this, getting their recalibrating to get ready for the general elections as well as other elections. Talking about your party as well, how is the mood in camp?
APC, I think, is the party to beat. I can tell you that, yes, every political party has some internal problems in terms of misunderstandings. But I will tell you, APC is a family bonded. Just as you see the broom being bonded, that's how the family of APC is. Yes, we can have our differences, but we can put those differences on the table and agree and disagree with each other. But at the end of the day, whoever has the superior argument, superior points will carry the day. And that is my belief. Politics is not about this illusion. It's about people coming together to exchange their beliefs. And the majority will carry whatever the day is. So I will tell you that APC is a party that today is more organized, more resourceful than any of these political parties. You can see how the others are in disarray.
Well, that's let's say that's your opinion. Others will also have what to point to, as well as we also get some other parties in as we round off for the year. But looking at the year 2022 in terms of your prospects for the nation, Nigerians are looking at the year and looking at what are the low-hanging fruits and which sectors will you be looking at to, bail us out in terms of...
I'm sure you have heard the speech of Mr. President, and he has assured and reassured this country that he is not going to hand over this country without the right security for the people. And what does that mean is that between now and the time he's leaving, he's going to make sure that this security issue will come to pass. And that is one. And secondly, he has promised to give Nigerians that economy that will live the test of time. And I believed him. And from what we are seeing today, things are changing. When you are talking about the security, the lapses are very few. And when you are talking about them, you can see the Boko Haram has been really decimated. They've been brought down seriously. Technically, they are down. Yeah, but you cannot, run away from all these little spots here and there. Because it's not a conventional kind of warfare. It's more of a ragtag warfare. And they ambush people. And where you don't expect it comes up. So it happens everywhere. not only in Nigeria. So, and then when you're talking about economy, I believe that Mr. President has put in some of these things in line, especially in areas of infrastructure, because when you're doing a lot of infrastructure, the economy is evolving. And the multiplier effect of that is that a lot of people will get something doing, and the economy will start picking up. As we are not down. We are in the right position in terms of how our economy is running, and I believe the statisticians will tell you that numbers either in the inflation side or unemployment side is reducing, not unlike when we came into power, when everything was up. So I believe 2022 is going to be a year of decision, not only for Mr. President, but for us Nigerians. We must do it in a way that we make this country much better. And I believe that 2022 has a lot of perks for Nigerians. We must try as much as possible to give maximum cooperation to the government. We must not just allow few individuals to divert our attention from the real things that are happening. You can see we have never had it so good where we can have roads being reconstructed everywhere. We have not seen it where you see the aviation sector getting much better and more sophisticated, meeting up with international best practices and standards. We have not seen it where our railway system is also catching up. And so these are not projects that you can just wake up overnight and see it happening. They are projects that takes a longer period to be able to put in place, especially in our kind of environments. So I believe that 2022 has a lot of perks for Nigerians, and APC will be so proud to tell Nigerians that we have done very well.
All right, final words on the program to Nigerians as we round off. You've given us a very good picture of what to expect in 2022. And finally, to your colleagues, people in the political terrain, final words before we let you go.
We must play this game by the rules. I have always stand by that. And I believe that once we play it by the rules, we get it right. Political parties are entities for development, are entities that supposed to bring in and usher in new kind of atmosphere for the society. We don't try to make political institutions to look as if it's just something that we have in our own homes, just like something we what do you call it when an emir is late, another emir comes in for the same. It's not a monarchy, so it's a platform that we allow everyone to participate, and I believe that we are getting it right in this country, and by the grace of God we shall get there.
Before we go, the nation's military outfits have also been boosting morale on the front lines as the gallant officers have no break from the onerous task of combating outlaws and insurgents. In Katsina, the Chief of Air Staff promised that the war against these elements will soon reach its logical conclusion with the patriotic efforts of all stakeholders.
It has been the tradition of Chief of the Air Staff to celebrate festive season with troops of air components handling Daji, fighting banditry and other security challenges. The essence is to promote a relationship and regimentation in the service, as well as remember officers who paid the supreme price in the line of duty. The Chief of the Air Staff, represented by Air Officer Commanding Special Operations Command, Air Vice Marshal Jack Yusuf, acknowledges the commitments of the troops in their effort to give the best in their assigned duties.
The air operations have been immensely instrumental in curtailing the activities of bandits and terrorists and denying them the freedom of action. I therefore commend the Air Component Commander as well as all personnel of the component for your commitment and contributions towards ensuring that peace and stability are restored to all parts of the Northwest and the country at large.
The acting commander of Air Component Hadarin Daji, Squadron Leader Victor Azorua, appreciated the support of Chief of the Air Staff to the troops. He also assures continued loyalty and discipline in the discharge of their duties.
concludes our political update for today. The final edition for the year is on Friday. We'll be looking at different sectors of the economy and, of course, the political platforms. And, of course, we'll also be looking at the year 2022 and the key dates in that year. My name is Fisal Gufi, thanking you for being a part of today's edition of Political Updates, urging you to play your politics for the greater good. And, of course, keep on watching the Nigerian Television Authority for news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Bye-bye now.